Today, you'll level up your vocabulary by learning advanced ways that natives use basic words. If you want to understand natives in the real world, if you want to sound natural when you speak, this is the lesson for you. Welcome back to JForrest English. Of course, I'm Jennifer. Now let's get started. Imagine I said, "Your toast." Would you know what that means? Well, I'm not calling you cooked bread. This basic word has an advanced meaning. You already know what "I love toast" means. I'm sure you're now wondering what "your toast" means. It means that you're in serious trouble.
You're toast.
For example, I forgot to email the client the invoice. I'm toast. I'm in serious trouble. My boss will get mad at me. Maybe I'll even get fired. Now, we also use this in a sports or games context. So if I say "you're toast," in this context, it means you're about to fail or lose. So if you're playing chess with someone, you might say, "I just took out your queen. You're toast," which means you're definitely going to lose this chess game. Don't worry about taking notes. I summarize everything in a free lesson PDF. You can find the link in the description. Now, what if I say, "I'm nervous about my toast"? What does toast mean here? Or, "I have to give a toast at my friend's wedding, so I'm nervous about my toast."
Let's toast!
In this case, a toast is a short celebratory speech, the kind you would give at a wedding or a retirement or birthday party. And notice that co-location. You make a toast or you give a toast. For example, I was nervous about my toast, my speech, my short celebratory speech, until I started learning English with Jennifer. Does that describe you? If it does, put "that's right, put "that's right" in the comments. Now, just like with toast, you know that milk as a basic word is a beverage. For example, I always have a glass of milk with my toast. But what if I said, "She's really milking her broken leg"? Do you know what this means? Of course, it has nothing to do with the beverage. To milk something means to exploit a negative situation for personal gain. We do this all the time.
Stop milking it!
In the example, "she's really milking her broken leg," this means she's making her injury, her broken leg, seem worse than it is. She's exploiting it so she doesn't have to help with chores, so she can avoid something negative or unpleasant. And notice here, milk is a verb. That's why you had it in the ing form. Or here's an example in the past simple. She milked her broken leg for months and didn't have to do any chores. Be honest, you've probably milked an injury before. Now, what if I said, "Yes, you made a mistake, but there's no use crying over spilled milk"? You may know this one. This is an idiom, to cry over spilled milk. This means to be upset over something that can't be changed or undone. You made the mistake. There's no changing that. So why get upset about it? Why cry over spilled milk?
Well, no point crying over spilled milk now, is there one?
Of course, you know that a nail is a piece of metal or a hard area over your fingertips. You might say, "I hurt my fingernail while I was hammering the nail into the wall." But what if I said to you, "Wow, you nailed your toast"? What does that mean? You probably know this because I use this all the time in my videos and in the comment section. This means you did a great job.
You nailed it.
So notice here, nail is a verb. You nailed your toast. Or you can use this to offer someone words of encouragement. For example, "I'm sure you'll nail your IELTS." So in that case, it's the future simple. You could even use this in the present continuous. we're nailing this presentation. Or right now, I'm nailing this video, aren't I? Hopefully you think so. What if I said, we need to nail down the date for the meeting? In this context, to nail something down, now this is a phrasal verb because I've added the preposition down. The main verb is nail. This means to confirm or decide.
Perfectly nailed down and everything.
Now, remember, nail is your verb, so I could say we've nailed down the location and the keynote speaker. We just need to nail down the date. We need to confirm or decide on the date. Or maybe you leave a nice YouTube comment and you say, Jennifer, I think practice, repetition, and patience are important when learning English. And I reply back to your comment and say, wow, you've hit the nail on the head. Do you know this one? This is an idiom, and it means that you said something exactly right. Are you enjoying this lesson? If you are, then I want to tell you about the Finally Fluent Academy. This is my premium training program where we study native English speakers from TV, movies, YouTube, and the news so you can improve your listening skills of fast English, expand your vocabulary with natural expressions, and learn advanced grammar easily. Plus, you'll have me as your personal coach. You can look in the description for the link to learn more, or you can go to my website and click on Finally Fluent Academy. Now let's continue with our lesson. Of course, you know that cold represents low temperature. It can describe a person or just the atmosphere. I'm cold because it's cold outside. But what if I said, why are you being so cold to the new intern?
Why are you being so cold?
What does this mean? So here the structure is to be cold to someone. And this means to be unfriendly, distant, or unkind to someone. So in this case, cold is an adjective and your verb is the verb to be. Just like if I said, I'm cold, you still use the verb to be. So let's review this sentence. She was being a little cold to the guests at first. I think she was just nervous about her toast. That's the reason why she seemed unfriendly or distant. She was just nervous. What if I asked you, why did you give the new intern the cold shoulder? Oh, do you know this one? The idiom is to give someone the cold shoulder. And this means to deliberately ignore or avoid someone. Deliberately means you do it on purpose.
What's with the cold shoulder, Charlotte?
So you might say, my roommate or my sister or my friend is giving me the cold shoulder, is ignoring me because I lost her favorite sweater. So this means my roommate is completely ignoring me. So admit it, I'm sure you give people, maybe your husband, the cold shoulder sometimes. Of course, you know that to hit means to strike. He hit the nail with all his strength. But what if I said to you, that movie was a hit, or this YouTube lesson will be a hit?
That's a hit.
The expression is to be, your verb to be, a hit. So hit is a something, it's a noun. And this means to be successful or popular. So I'll say to you as words of encouragement, I'm sure your toast will be a hit. I'm sure it will be very successful or popular. People will love it. And then later on you say, Jennifer, great news, my toast was a hit. Now remember, you already learned an idiom with hit. You hit the nail on the head by suggesting we need to nail down the date. There are many expressions that use the word hit. Let's do a rapid fire quiz. I'm going to hit the road. This means I'm going to leave. Let's hit the books. Let's start studying. I hope we hit it off. I hope we instantly get along.
So I'm probably gonna hit the road.
Of course, you know that a rock is a stone. I found a beautiful rock at the beach. But what if I said to you, thanks for liking this video and leaving a nice comment. Hopefully you did that. You rock. You know this one because I use this all the time. You rock. You're awesome. You're awesome. Just don't say you are rock. That's a mistake I commonly hear. It's you rock. So in the past simple, you would say you rocked the presentation, which means you did a great job on the presentation. Rock is the verb, which is why it's not you are rock, it's simply you rock. You rock. I could also say you're going to rock the presentation as words of encouragement. And I could equally say you're going to nail the presentation. It has the same meaning.
You rock.
What if we're in a meeting and I say to my team, let's follow her instructions. I don't want to rock the boat. What does this mean? To rock the boat, this is an idiom and it means to cause disruptions or problems. So she rocked the boat. Rock is your verb. She rocked the boat. She caused problems. She caused disruptions by suggesting we use a different supplier, and now everyone's being cold to her. Maybe you've used the same supplier for 20 years, or the supplier is a personal friend. So you cause disruptions or problems by suggesting a new supplier. You rocked the boat.
Don't rock the boat.
The basic word shot can be used for firing a gun or taking a photo. For example, the gunshot scared the birds and completely ruined my shot, my photo. But what if I said to you, I'm going to give yoga a shot. I'm going to give yoga a shot. What does this mean? I'm going to take a picture of yoga? No, it means I'm going to try yoga. So to give something a shot, in this case yoga, it means to try something. So maybe after I'll say, I gave yoga a shot. Your verb is give. I gave yoga a shot, but it wasn't for me. Next, I'm going to give karate a shot. Ooh, maybe I'll enjoy that more. Or maybe you could say, you may not get the promotion, but it's worth a shot. It's worth trying. So a shot represents try.
I gave it a shot.
What if I said to you, I know it's a long shot, but I applied for the sales manager position? What does that sound like to you? Well, a long shot is something with a low chance of success. So it's like me saying I applied, but I don't think I'm going to get it. There's a 5% chance or a 10% chance that I'll get the promotion. But I gave it a shot, even though it's a long shot.
But that's a long shot.
Of course, you know that run means to move fast on foot. I ran to catch my bus. But what if I said, or you said, I ran into my teacher at the mall? What does this mean? I saw my teacher unexpectedly at the mall. And remember, this is an irregular verb. The conjugations are run, ran, and then the participle is run. Run, ran, run.
I run into Vince Vaughn.
What if I said to you, maybe we're in a meeting or we're out shopping and I say, we're running out of time. To run out of time means to have no time left. But this is in progress. We're running out of time. So we're in progress of having no time left. Now you can run out of time, ideas, money is a common one, or even patience.
We're running out of time.
The basic verb to cut means to divide or make an opening. Can you cut the carrots? Can you divide the carrots? But what if I said to you, our electrician cut corners and now we have to completely redo our wiring? Did he physically cut a corner? No, the expression is to cut corners, and this means to do something quickly or cheaply, often ignoring rules or quality.
Don't cut corners.
So for example, I could have asked ChatGPT to create this script that I'm reading right now, but I didn't want to cut corners. Because trust me, the quality of a ChatGPT script compared to what I prepared, they're not the same. Now let's say my coworkers are being really noisy and I say to them, cut it out. I'm trying to concentrate. What does that mean? To cut something out, in this case, cut it, your noisy behavior, cut it out. This means to stop doing something annoying. Now, what if I'm in a meeting and I say to you, can you just cut to the chase? We're running out of time. Well, you already know that means we're getting close to having no time left. So to cut to the chase, this means to quickly get to the main point. So stop telling me all this other information and just tell me the main point. Cut to the chase.
Cut to the chase?
Of course, you know that play means to engage in a game or activity. The kids play soccer every afternoon. But what if I say, we don't have any plans this weekend? We're just going to play it by ear. This is what I say most weekends. We're just going to play it by ear. To play something by ear means to decide what to do as things happen without planning. But you might say you can't just play the conference by ear. You need to nail down the details.
Okay, we'll play it by ear.
Of course, you know what a table is. It's a flat, raised surface. Can you please set the table for dinner? But what if in a meeting your boss says, let's table this proposal until next quarter? To table something. Notice table is a verb. It means to postpone or delay discussing something or making a decision. This is a very common business expression. We couldn't agree, so we tabled. Remember, that's the verb, so it's the past simple. We tabled the topic until the next meeting. So this is the same as we postponed it.
Let's table this for now.
Now, what if in that same meeting I say to you, I didn't know hiring a new sales manager was on the table? What does this mean? It's the same as saying I didn't know it was an option, because to be on the table means that it's available for discussion or negotiation. Now, keeping that in mind, what if I say offering free daycare to all our employees is off the table? We can't afford it. So if something is off the table, it means it's not available for discussion or negotiation. They're very commonly used business terms.
Is that off the table?
Of course, you know that light refers to brightness. I turned on the light in the kitchen. But what if I say, can anyone shed light on why we haven't nailed down the date? To shed light on something, very commonly used, this means to make something clearer or easier to understand. The investigation helped shed light on the issue. Now notice, you shed light on something, on the issue, on why we haven't nailed down the date.
I'm just hoping you could shed some light.
The basic word break means to separate in pieces. It can also mean a temporary pause. After I accidentally broke all the glasses, we decided to take a short break. But what if I said to you, I hate to break it to you, but a raise is off the table? Do you know what this means? This means I hate to be the one to share this negative news. So to break the news means to share negative news. I might say to you, how are we going to break this to the employees? So in this case, this represents the negative news, the fact that free daycare is off the table.
Fine. Let's go break the news.
And what if I said to you, I can never seem to catch a break? To catch a break. What does that mean? It's like saying I never have any luck or special opportunities. So after a series of negative things, I might say, I can never seem to catch a break.
I can't catch a break.
Now let's move on and you'll learn 16 adjectives that have advanced meanings. Our first adjective is open. Open. Right now you're saying, Jennifer, of course I know what open means. It's not closed. It's allowing access. The window is open. The store is open until 9 p.m. Yes, of course you know this adjective. But what if I said she's open to new ideas, even if they challenge her?
We need to be open to different perspectives.
Do you know what this means? Well, in this context, in this advanced context, open means willing, receptive, or flexible about ideas, experiences, or change. It's a very positive adjective to describe someone as being open. She's open to new ideas, even if they challenge her. Or you might say, we're open to moving abroad. Now, did you notice that sentence structure? We have to be, she is, we are. The verb to be conjugated, and then your adjective open, but you're not done. You still need to, which functions as a preposition. So following a preposition, you can use a noun, new ideas, or a gerund, moving abroad. So thinking about this adjective and the sentence structure, I hope you're thinking, I'm open to speaking English in public, which means you're willing to do that. Does that describe you? If it does, put that's right, put that's right in the comments. Right now, if you're thinking, Jennifer, what is an adjective? It is simply a word that is used to describe or give more information about a noun or a pronoun. The adjective provides information such as what kind, which one, or how much. Now for placement, it's commonly used before a noun. So you might say the open window let in the breeze. So you're describing the window. But it can also come after a linking verb. The window is, that's your linking verb, and then your adjective, open. It still describes the window, but it comes after. Those are the two common placements. And as you'll learn in this lesson, one adjective, like open, can have literal and abstract meanings depending on context. And if you want to ask me questions about this or other confusing grammar topics, and if you want to submit written and spoken exercises for personalized feedback and correction, you can do that when you join my premium coaching program, the Finally Fluent Academy. You can find the link in the description to learn more. Our next adjective is closed. Of course, you know that this means not open or shut. The window is closed. The store is closed today. Now, just like with open, this has an advanced meaning that means not willing to discuss, accept, or change. But you need to add another word. You need to say closed-minded. So instead of just saying closed, you say closed-minded. My boss is so closed-minded, which means he's not willing to consider new ideas.
Number two, it causes you to be closed-minded.
It's also very common to take open and simply make that negative. So the structure is to be, not open to, and then a noun or gerund. So you might say, even though the position is much better, my husband isn't open to moving abroad. Let's review on. Of course, the basic meaning is operating. The TV is on, or you can say, leave the light on. In an advanced way, this means active, happening, or in progress. So native speakers very commonly will send a text message or call someone and ask, are we still on tonight? Are we still on tonight? So this means we had some sort of plan, maybe to go to the movie, and I want to confirm that plan is still happening. Are we still on tonight?
Hey, are we still on for the Beyonce concert Friday night?
This is also commonly used in a professional context. The meeting is on for next week. This means the meeting is happening. It's confirmed. Let's review off. Of course, in a basic way, not operating. The light is off. The TV was off when I got home. In an advanced way, this means not right or strange. It's very common to say something like, she's been acting a little off lately. She's been acting a little off lately. So if I record my next video and I'm not smiling at all, and I'm speaking very softly with no emotion the entire video, you might say, Jennifer's a little off.
Like if Sean is acting a little bit off, I can check in with him.
Or to express some doubt about something, if an explanation doesn't seem right or it seems strange, you can say something feels off about that story or about that explanation. Or we can use this in a cooking context. I always ask my husband, does the fish smell off to you? For some reason, I'm very paranoid about eating fish that isn't fresh. So I always ask, does the fish smell off to you? Which means strange, not right. Let's review messy, messy. Hopefully you know in a basic way, this means not clean or organized. I can say, please ignore my messy desk if I have papers on my desk everywhere. Or I can say the kitchen got messy after dinner. In an advanced way, this means complicated or emotionally difficult, and native speakers use this a lot. You might say, she's going through a messy breakup. So you can say she's going through a breakup because adjectives are not required. They give additional information, in this case about the breakup. A breakup is when a relationship, a romantic relationship, permanently ends. Describing it as messy means it's complicated. There's a lot of emotions involved. A messy breakup.
She's going through a really messy breakup.
Or you might say, I'm in a messy situation. So again, I'm in a situation, the adjective provides more information. I'm in a messy situation at work. My best friend and I are both applying for the promotion. So that makes things complicated and emotionally complicated. Let's review random, random. In a basic way, this means without a pattern. So you can say the numbers were completely random. 1, 7, 300, 14 million, it's random. Or the songs are playing in a random order, not a specific order. In a more advanced way, this means unexpected or out of context. This word is part of my daily speech. I might say something like, he showed up at my office totally random. Totally random. It means I wasn't expecting him, and it was also quite unusual for him. He's not someone that normally would come to my office, so even without a specific appointment, it was unexpected. Totally random. Or if your friend says to you, I signed up for an archery class, you might reply back and say, that's random, because your friend has never expressed any interest in archery or taking a new class, so it is out of context, unexpected. That's random.
I was dropped on my head as a kid. That's so random.
Let's review supportive, supportive. In a basic way, this means physically holding something up or helping it stay in place. I might say the chair has a supportive back, so it physically holds up my back. Or these shoes are very supportive, so they keep my foot in a supportive way. In an advanced way, this means emotionally or personally encouraging someone. My manager was very supportive during my training. So my manager encouraged me, said positive things, made me feel like I was capable, supportive.
Everyone was always very supportive.
Or you might say it's easier to take risks when the people around you are supportive. Let's review practical. Practical. In a basic way, this means focused on what works in real life, not theory. We need a practical solution, not a perfect one. So one that works in the real world based on our situation. And I always give my students practical example sentences. I give you sentences that you can take what I said and use it in the real world, and you will sound natural because the example is practical. Now, in an advanced way, this means realistic, sensible, and not overly emotional or idealistic. She's very practical about money and budgeting. So this means the way she manages her money and her budgeting, which is how she allocates her money, is based in reality, not theory. So it has the same meaning as the basic one, but it's just the way we use it is in a slightly different context. Or I might say, let's be practical. We don't have enough time to do everything.
It is a very practical idea that we can do tomorrow.
Let's review rough. Rough. Notice that f sound, rough. In a basic way, this means not smooth. So I can say my hands are so rough from the dry weather. Or this fabric feels rough, so not smooth. In an advanced way, this means difficult or unpleasant. Hopefully you're familiar with this. It's quite common. I had a rough week. Have you heard that before? I had a rough week. I had a difficult week. I had a challenging week. I had a rough week.
Oh, I'm having a rough week.
Or you can say the meeting was rough. The meeting was rough. It was challenging. It was difficult. I also commonly use this as a reply when someone shares a situation that sounds challenging or difficult. So if my friend says, I have to work a 12-hour shift tonight, maybe she's a nurse, and I reply back and say, oh, that's rough. That's rough. That's difficult. That's challenging. That's rough. Let's review tight. You may know that this means firmly fixed, not loose. Make sure the screws are tight. Or this lid is so tight, I can't get it off. In an advanced way, this means limited or strict. So you can say, I'm on a tight schedule today. Have you said that before? I'm on a tight schedule today. This means you have very limited time to do the things that you need to get done.
It was on a very tight schedule.
Or you might say, money's a little tight this month. Have you heard a native say that? Money's a little tight this month. It means it's limited. You need to be strict on the way you allocate it, you use it. Money's a little tight. Let's review heavy. Of course, you know this means weighing a lot. This box is heavy. Or it took two of us to carry the heavy suitcase. So here you're describing the suitcase. In an advanced way, this means serious or emotionally intense. You might say, that was a heavy conversation. If you and your friend sit down and you talk about what your life will be like in 50 years, or what might happen in the future if one of you gets an illness. That's a heavy conversation. That's a serious conversation. Or maybe you say the lecture addresses heavy topics. So heavy topics could be topics that are quite serious, controversial, highly debated, heavy topics.
I know this topic can feel a little heavy.
The opposite of heavy is light. In the basic way, of course, not heavy. This suitcase is light. She prefers light bags when traveling. And in the advanced way is also the opposite. So it means not serious, more relaxed. So if your friend wants to have a heavy conversation about a war taking place, you might say, let's keep the conversation light. Let's keep the conversation light. so not serious.
The first thing I would tell you to do is go into that party and just make light conversation with everybody.
Or you might say, I prefer light comedies to heavy dramas. When you're talking about your movie preferences or even your book preferences. Let's review flat. In a basic way, this means smooth without curves. We need a flat surface to organize the photos. Or we got a flat tire and missed our flight. So in this case, a flat tire is a tire where the air is out because of a puncture or a hole. Now, in an advanced way, this means dull, lacking emotion. His voice sounded flat. So when you speak in a monotone way, which means there's no rise and fall to your voice, you can describe that as flat. You can also say the joke fell flat, which means he was trying to be funny when he shared his joke, but nobody laughed. So it ended up being dull. It fell flat.
Fell flat on its face.
Let's review loose. Notice that pronunciation. Oose, loose, loose. This means not tight. So I might say, that shirt is too loose. Or, watch out for the loose wires, so there could be wires hanging down because they're not tight, they're loose. In an advanced way, this means relaxed or informal. The rules are pretty loose here. So maybe you're a new employee and there are a lot of company rules, but then your coworker says, the rules are pretty loose here, which means they don't enforce the rules that seriously. They're more relaxed about the rules. Or you can say, we have a loose plan, which means your plan is just an idea. You have some ideas, but it's more relaxed. You're willing to consider other things. You're open to other ideas. You're open to doing something differently. We have a loose plan.
So when we went to Costa Rica, we had a really loose plan.
Let's review sharp. Of course, in a basic way, if something is sharp, it means that it's able to cut. Be careful, that knife is sharp. The scissors are really sharp. In an advanced way, this means intelligent or quick. She's very sharp. He gave a sharp answer. I'm snapping because that's how fast the person was able to answer a difficult question. She's very sharp.
But it does pose some really sharp questions.
Let's review wild, wild. In a basic way, this means not controlled, natural. Wild animals live here. So again, animals live here. Wild is the adjective. It describes the animals, wild animals. Or you can say the forest is full of wild plants. In an advanced way, this means extreme or surprising. So you can say that party was wild. I know you had a great night and you probably have some stories to tell. It definitely was not a dull party. That party was wild. Or if someone shares an idea with you, maybe they say, what if we quit our jobs and move abroad? And you say, that's a wild idea. That's a wild idea. I really love this adjective in the more advanced way.
But my friends and I became obsessed with a wild idea.
Now you have 16 new adjectives in your vocabulary, and you know both the basic meaning and the more advanced meaning that has a non-literal, a more abstract meaning. So make sure you review these again because all the ones I shared, natives use these in our daily speech, both the basic and the advanced meanings. And of course, make sure you like this lesson, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson. And you can get this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can click here to download it or look for the link in the description. And here's another lesson I know you'll love. Watch it now.